Live from our hurricane headquarters with real-time analysis from some of the nation's top meteorologists, this is Tracking the Tropics, powered by Bose Electric.
A track shift in the 5 o'clock advisory as Hurricane Helene's forecast cone nudging to the west and now expected to reach Category 4 strength. Rapid intensification, part of the forecast, with a storm that is now heading directly for the state of Florida. We have the new model data, the new forecast cone, plus a live Q&A coming up on this edition of Tracking the Tropics. Welcome into the Stream Center once again, folks. Probably the most significant advisory that we have had over the last 36 hours. The forecast cone is narrowing, high levels of confidence in the models, but the track has shifted a bit to the west. But perhaps most notably, Eric, we now have a storm forecasted to reach her Category 4 strength. We're going to send you right over to the wall for the very latest on this particular advisory, and it's noteworthy for sure. Yeah, definitely. And, you know, Jeff and I had been talking over the past several days that we thought this would reach Category 4 status. It has increased in wind at 85 miles per hour, still a slow increase now, and the pressure has dropped ever so slightly. But now look, it has started that northerly turn. It was moving north to northwest, now due north at 12 miles per hour. So here it is, and this is what I talked about earlier today at 11 o'clock. I said, I really think that this storm is going to be a Category 4 offshore of Tampa, and then as it moves to the Panhandle, it's either going to stay steady at a Cat 4 or maybe lose 5 miles per hour. So, of course, we'll wait and see. But as you can see, the cone is shifted slightly to the west. Before, it was right over downtown Tallahassee. Now you can see it's still to the east of Apalachicola, but to the west of downtown Tally. But still, Tallahassee looking for major impacts with this system, as right now it does look like it's going to stay well offshore of Tampa Bay. And then I finished this cone in Georgia, and you can see still a Category 1 storm in western Georgia at Friday at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's moving so quickly, it's going to take a while before that storm does weaken, in fact, into a tropical storm. By the time it gets to central Georgia, Macon, and eventually into Atlanta, then we will see the weakening and tropical storm force wind likely in the Atlanta area. Model plots, some of these have shifted toward Apalachicola, the easternmost in the Perry area right now. So looks like the western portions of the Big Bend, again, the low pressure that's guiding this to the north is very strong, and it is pulling this slightly to the west, according to the models, over the next couple of days. So it's better news for us here in Tampa, but of course, we're still going to have major impacts from a major hurricane. So let's take a look at GFS versus Euro. Slight differences this go around. Euro's a little bit slower, and this time slightly to the east of the GFS. And it looks like the GFS has landfall around 8 o'clock, while the European model is right around 10 o'clock or so Thursday evening. But again, to the west of Perry and impacting Tallahassee with possibly a direct hit, and then moving up toward Atlanta and into the eastern Tennessee Valley. So again, our in-house model that we like to watch, this has been going back and forth west to east. Latest model actually shifted slightly to the west, but this is on the eastern side of what we call the envelope of the spaghetti plots. As this moves to the north-northeast, it will be as close to Tampa as it will get sometime late in the afternoon, meaning the worst effects in the Tampa Bay area will come after 5, 6, and 7 o'clock, even up to 8 o'clock before conditions will start to improve after 9 and 10 o'clock. But boy, look how strong this is. This is a huge eye right here. And again, our in-house model takes this closer to St. Mark's, Cross City area versus Tallahassee and Apalachicola. And then the eye still intact in Valdosta in southern Georgia, believe it or not, as still a Category 1 storm in the southern part of that state. Again, the reason, because we've got a lot of this energy, ocean heat content that, yet again, with 90-plus degree water temperatures, it's going to continue to intensify, and quite rapidly is what we're expecting. So storm surge, that I think is going to be the most catastrophic
for much of our area, the coastline. 10 to 15 foot of storm surge in Citrus County, 6 to 10 between Pasco and Hernando counties, and then even 5 to 8 foot in Pinellas County, 4 to 7 in Tampa Bay, as well as Manatee and Sarasota County. So we can take a closer look. This only goes up to 9 feet, and you can see how far in the red goes, right? 9-foot storm surge right into Crystal River, right along US 19 in Citrus County. So you need to be living well east of 19 if you want to experience no storm surge whatsoever. Once we get into Hernando County, you'll be okay a little bit further south in central Hernando County if you do live along 19. But if you live to the east, you'll be fine. If you live to the west, I'm sure if you haven't been asked to evacuate, you will be. And then further to the south in Pasco County, some of that Gulf water could inundate 19 all the way down toward southern Pasco and even northern Pinellas County, especially in the Tarpon Springs area. There's a lot of water there. It's a low-lying area, and that is a flood-prone area from Tarpon Springs to Palm Harbor and even toward Dunedin. But then once you get toward Palm Harbor, at least toward US 19, things will be just fine there all the way south through Clearwater. Again, a good 4 to 6, even 7-foot storm surge in coastal Pinellas County, and of course in Tampa Bay itself, about the same. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw 4 to 6 foot of storm surge in Tampa Bay itself, and even the eastern portions of Tampa Bay, a good 5 to 6 feet from Sun City. Again, if you live west of US 41, you're told to evacuate. It's definitely a good idea to do so. Most of 41 eastward's fine, but not in the Ruskin area. Once you get toward Apollo Beach, if you get toward 301, if you live in that direction, then you should be fine. And then in Manatee, Sarasota counties, Manatee County, obviously the closer to the storm, a good, I'd say 3 to 5 foot of storm surge. And then once you get toward Sarasota County, we're not really worried about that all that much. So again, in regards to the wind speed, here's the European model. Tomorrow morning, wind speeds 20 to 30 miles per hour. And of course, we talk about the Skyway Bridge closing. That would happen, in my opinion, late morning to about lunchtime or so. They may be proactive and even close it before that. By 5 o'clock, we start to see 40 to 50 mile per hour wind speeds. And then once we get toward the overnight hours and Friday, things really subside. So European model bringing sustained tropical force winds, I'd say 50 to 55 along the coastline, gusting, though, to hurricane force. Now, the GFS model, again, very similar, 30 mile per hour wind Thursday morning, and then by Thursday evening, 50 to 60 mile per hour wind, and by Friday, things do start to subside. And as far as the wind gusts go, this is interesting. So 6 o'clock in the morning, we're looking at tropical storm force wind gust already here in the Tampa Bay area. And by 5 and 6 o'clock, we could see hurricane force wind gust along the Pinellas County coastline, upwards of 75 to 80 miles per hour. At Tampa International, wouldn't be surprised if we had a wind gust close to 70, and then up toward Crystal River near 80 to even 85 miles per hour. Now, again, this is the GFS model. Here is our in-house model. It's higher resolution, so we're going to see more cities on here and definitely see an hour-by-hour representation versus every 3 hours. So Thursday at lunchtime, here you go. This is a gust map, so 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gust around lunchtime. Here's the storm well offshore, but notice this blue area. This is wind gust of 125 miles an hour or more, right? And you're seeing Clearwater toward Tampa around 60 mile per hour gust. And as this moves north, Clearwater still pretty close to hurricane force wind gust. Crystal River around 70 to 80. And then look at where this is about to make landfall. If this model does verify, 121 mile per hour wind gust in Perry, 109 in St. Mark's, and I'm assuming some would gust even higher than that. As far as sustained wind, we're not really expecting hurricane force sustained wind anywhere in our area, from Crystal River, Citrus County, all the way down to Sarasota County. That will be mainly the Panhandle, but this is a huge storm, 275 miles between the center of circulation and the outer edge of tropical storm force wind. And that does include just about all of the peninsula, in fact, almost all of the state, in fact. And again, as this reaches a Category 3 and 4 status, we'll be in a prolonged period of time of tropical storm force wind from around lunchtime all the way through about 11 o'clock and even the midnight hour on your Thursday night. Then, of course, this makes landfall, and by overnight Thursday into Friday morning, the wind does subside dramatically here in Tampa, but boy, still a hurricane in South Georgia. So the estimated time of tropical storm force wind in the Tampa Bay area, I mentioned just before lunchtime, anywhere between 10 o'clock and noontime, right around 11, a little bit sooner than that south, and later than that in northern areas. Now, it's moving so quickly that we don't have to really worry about torrential flooding rain. So at least that part is good news, right? So the GFS model having about 2 to 3 inches along the immediate coast. Locally, we could see some rain bands that produce up to 4, maybe 5, but that's nothing compared to Debbie that produced over 16 inches of rain in Sarasota. Now, the European model, again, very similar to GFS, along the immediate coast, within a few miles, maybe 4 to 6 inches of rain, but most of us between 2 and 4. And of course, our in-house graph model, predicting a little bit more rain, the rain bands becoming a little bit stronger, especially in northern areas, because this model, remember, does have the storm coming a little bit further to the east. So if this one does verify, 4 to 6 inches from northern Hillsborough all the way up towards citrus counties, and some of those rain bands further inland as well could produce several inches of rain. So again, just a 25-mile easterly jog or westerly jog really changes our forecast dramatically here, JB.
Yeah, we've got a lot of folks that are tuning in and seeing this for the first time. So, Eric, can we please bring the track right back up, and can we talk about rapid intensification here? Let me point out real quick, we're going to be answering your questions, folks. We know that we've got a lot of questions coming in on Facebook and YouTube Live. Hello and welcome into the Stream Center. I'm JB. For those of you just joining the program, we have a track update. I want to make this clear. It's a slight nudge to the west, but it's noteworthy enough that it is a headline here for us, because now we have really the center of the cone going west of Tallahassee rather than directly to Tallahassee or even east of Tallahassee. But really, rapid intensification is the story here. As the cone has narrowed, now we have an intensity forecast that takes it to a Category 4 major hurricane by tomorrow afternoon. So right now, let me make this clear. Right now, we are at a Category 1 storm as of 5 o'clock on this Wednesday, September 25th. What they are saying is that within 24 hours, we will climb from Cat 1 to Cat 2 to Cat 3 to Cat 4, all in 24 hours. That's the clearest definition of rapid intensification. And what is exactly causing that, Eric?
Well, again, and really, if you look at it, it's less than 24 hours, because it's 5 o'clock tomorrow at 2 o'clock, so that's 21 hours. And you know what? It may even be sooner than that. First of all, there's little to no wind shear whatsoever, and that's one big destroyer of any tropical storm or hurricane. The second is what we call the ocean heat content, which I showed earlier. Water temperatures are over 90 degrees. This is following the loop current, which brings that warm water from the Caribbean into the Gulf of Mexico, and this is following that current for several miles. So this is tapping in to some pretty hot water, in fact. Combine that with the abundance of moisture in and around the system, those three ingredients right there make for rapid intensification, and that's what we all believed would happen in the next 24 hours.
So in less than 24 hours, climbing from a Cat 1 all the way to a Cat 4. And I just want to make sure that I'm right here. They did not update to Cat 2 in this 5 o'clock advisory.
No.
Right? We were talking about a Cat 1 storm,
right,
getting to a Cat 4 by Thursday at 2 o'clock per this latest model from the NHC. You want to know how hot the ocean is right now, folks? You're looking at it in basically the scientific data. Let's get to the questions. If you've been with us on the program before, you know how this works. You can use hashtag #HeyEric or hashtag #HeyJB, and we can feature your comment like this. Diane Borden, hashtag #HeyEric. Any chance as it strengthens, it could stall or even move a little bit to the east?
It could definitely move a little bit to the east, but this is definitely not going to stall. We have two factors working to pull this system straight to the north, a high pressure to the east and a low pressure that's pulling this toward that system in the southern and southeastern portion of the country. So there's really no chance whatsoever that this thing is going to slow down.
You know how in Fast and the Furious they're revving the engines at the start line? I feel like that's where we are with this storm right now. Because, all right, we're moving at a modest, you can see the movement there on the center of your screen. This storm right now is moving north at about 12 miles per hour. Direction-wise, that'll probably hold true north by northeast over the next 24 hours. But we are expected to see that movement speed really ramp up. I mean, really putting your foot on the gas and picking up the pace towards Tallahassee. Should also note, one more time, we have said it, it's been a recurring theme over the course of the last 24, 36 hours. Tallahassee is in for a really rough Thursday. A Category 4 system basically going right over it potentially. So if you're in Tallahassee, if you have son, daughter who attends school at Florida State, if you have friends or family that work in the state capitol, by now they know. But maybe extend the olive branch, say to them, hey, do you need a place to stay? Is there any way that I can help? Because Tallahassee is looking like it's right smack dab in the middle of what will be a Category 4 Hurricane Helene, Eric.
And it's also going to hit right about 9, 10 o'clock at night. So it's going to be dark, which is even scarier because you can't really see what's going on. You can hear the wind howling and the rain and whatnot. But the worst effects from this storm are going to be between, I would say, 7 o'clock in the evening and about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. It's going to get really bad in that area.
All right, from this point forward, we're going to monitor, of course, the comment section. My eyes, when they're going this way, I'm looking at the Facebook Live, YouTube Live comments that are coming in. I only see comments with hashtag #HeyEric or hashtag #HeyJB. That's just how our system works as you're trying to get your comments into the queue. So I'll monitor the comments. Eric's going to try to answer them and also keep his eyes on the computer models as far as new things that are developing at this hour. Let's go to Colleen. Hashtag #HeyJB. How bad will Atlanta, Georgia get? When will planes be able to fly to Sarasota, Florida? These are two separate questions. Let's talk about Atlanta really quickly. Atlanta is never really much of a talking point on tracking the tropics because usually it's so far inland that by the time a storm makes it to Atlanta, it's a tropical depression or it's just basically being broken apart by land. We might have a Category 1 hurricane or tropical storm in the vicinity of the Atlanta metro area by, dinner time on Friday, Eric?
I'd say even before that. I'd say almost lunchtime. And it still may be a tropical storm in the Atlanta area because of how fast this is moving. But definitely you'll experience tropical storm force wind because the wind diameter of this is just huge. I mean, right now it's extending 275 miles away from the center. Obviously, that shrinks when it goes on land, but still, Atlanta will have a prolonged period of time of tropical storm force wind, and that's something they're definitely not used to.
Let's continue to scroll through the comments. If you use a hashtag, we can add it to the queue. Andrew King, hashtags for us both. Is there a high probability it will move further west? Panama City and Mexico Beach still recovering from Hurricane Michael.
Yeah, I don't think it's a high probability. Like I said, there's two factors pulling the storm, and it seems like each model run kind of jogs it to the east and back to the west, and it'll probably wind up somewhere in the middle, which is right where it's at now. In fact, the track is really following the westernmost models right now, so I don't really see it shifting too much further to the west, and really not much further to the east. But again, we need to see when this thing develops an eye and when this thing starts to move east of north and how far east of north does it move. And then we look at the wobble tracker and we start to see the wobbles, and then we'll get a better idea of which direction this thing's going to go.
All right, I'm trying to pull up the wobble tracker here live. Stand by here for just 1 second as I try to load it in, and there it is. Okay, so here's wobble tracker. It's a bit of a murky mess on satellite right now, right? So it's really difficult to tell if it's wobbling. Maybe a slight wobble west.
Well,
it's just hard to say for sure.
Yeah, it's hard to say, but you can see that line is pretty consistent over the past several hours. It's a straight line, just west of north. So it doesn't appear that it has wobbled, but once it develops an eye, it's going to be a lot easier to see. it's trying. There's deep convection around the center, and there's still some dry air to the north and northwest. But eventually, in the coming hours, this thing will really get its act together, and it won't take long before we can watch this and see if it does wobble.
Yeah, let me be clear. Just because there's a bend in the line doesn't necessarily mean that there is a wobble. The wobble is in relation to the eye of the storm, the center of the eye, to be more precise. So without us being able to really pinpoint on satellite where the center of that eye is, it's difficult for us to label a wobble appropriately. And again, wobbles are common, extremely common with a tropical system. It's when you piece together several wobbles. When you have wobbles happening consecutively, that's when it becomes a pattern or a trend, and that's when the NHC really starts paying attention, is multiple wobbles back to back to back to back. Let's continue the conversation. Let's continue to answer questions. And shout out to our first responders out there, like Ira saying, I'm a first responder. I live in Newport Richey, and I need to be at work in St. Pete, so traveling south, by 6 a.m. How will the roads be early in the morning? We really appreciate, Ira, really specific questions like this because we can help you when you provide the specifics. So Newport Richey, driving south to St. Pete, in the early morning hours. So how do we help Ira?
Yeah, and thanks for going out and doing your job and being a first responder, especially during a time when it could be dangerous. But at 6 o'clock in the morning, I don't see it being dangerous. The wind is still going to be offshore. The wind's going to be out of the southeast, so it's still going to be pushing water. And you can see at 4 o'clock there, it's not quite due west of Tampa yet. So at 6 o'clock in the morning, it's still going to be pretty far south. So I really do think you're going to be safe. But I worry about you coming home whenever you have to. You may be stuck, whether you're a firefighter or whatnot. You may be stuck at work for a while.
Yeah, it might be difficult getting out of that location depending on exactly where you are.
And back to Newport Richey, yeah.
Of course. So look, let's look at the map, everybody. You see that 4 by Thursday at 2 o'clock, really towards the center of your screen. Look at the distance now between Tampa. Now, there's a considerable gap now between the forecast cone and Tampa. Now, that doesn't mean that Tampa, it's a day at the beach in Tampa Bay. To the contrary, there's going to be tremendous storm surge potential with this storm, with how lopsided, of course, tropical systems tend to be, and how the eastern quadrants can be, of course, extremely dangerous. The east side, way more dangerous than the west side of the storm. But we got to ask now, with this nudge to the west, how does this change the story now for the Tampa Bay region specifically? Karma wants to know.
It may have nudged to the west just a bit, but also they're forecasting it to be a stronger storm. So it's kind of two things that equal each other out, right? The stronger the storm, the more storm surge you're going to have. The further away the storm is, the less storm surge you're going to have. So this may have inched a little bit to the west, but it also gained forecast strength. So I don't think it's going to change the 3 to 5, maybe 3 to 6 foot storm surge in Tampa Bay itself.
Let's go now to Spring Hill for Christina saying, thoughts on Spring Hill? We live in a camper over that way.
Yeah, I mean, Spring Hill definitely could see wind gusts of 70 miles per hour. So, I mean, if it's a camper, you can, if it's like an RV that you can, drive further inland, I would do that. Otherwise, it's not going to be easy with 70 mile per hour wind gusts.
Let's go to okay, so here's something interesting here from Sunny. Sunny Chatter. That's a good name on Facebook Live. Hashtags for us both. I'm actually less than 80 miles inland from Tampa, 47 miles south of Orlando. It's very specific. Very specific. We love this. Will we see anything major? And she's saying here this is her first storm. We really appreciate people being candid that way because so many people will move to the beautiful state of Florida.
I thought she was going to say,
welcome to Florida.
I thought she was going to say, now, can you guess where I live?
Right.
We're going to play a game here.
Latitude, longitude. But no, I mean, tons of people who might be experiencing their first hurricane, their first tropical storm, whatever it may be, because they've just moved to the area. So, yeah, I mean, look, I'll say this really quick, Sonny, and then I'll have Eric answer your question about being 80 miles inland and 47 miles south of Orlando. Again, very specific. If you're on a program like this, if you're invested in gaining information and staying informed, you're already on the right track, pun not intended. Coming onto programs like this to seek information from people like Eric, Jeff, Rebecca, Val, Lee, Amanda, and our next star meteorologist, it's a step in the right direction, and you're doing the right thing by coming here and being informed. So I think Eric is probably looking up what is 47 miles south of Orlando.
Once you get south of Kissimmee and St. Cloud, there's really nothing, unless you're in Indian Lakes in Polk County. Which that could be, or maybe the Lake Wales area. Either way, it sounds like you're far enough inland that, you'll see some tropical storm force winds, 40 miles an hour or so, for, several hours and probably 2, maybe 3 inches of rain at the most. But it's not going to be a devastating storm in that part.
Let's go to, oh wait, where are all my comments? Oh, hold on. Didn't load them. That's my fault. How will the winds and surge be around TGH? Asks Heather.
It's right on the bay. There could be there's definitely going to be surge there. Maximum right now, maximum surge in Tampa Bay is 5 to 8. I think it's going to be more like 4 to 6, 4 to 7 at most. I think most of the Tampa Bay will be at least 3 to 6. So. I don't know what the parking situation. I'm sure they have a parking garage there where you could park on the third level or higher. Storm surge will be an issue, and wind gusts 60 to 70 miles per hour will be an issue as well.
We've got a few comments coming in here specifically about. Hold on, it's loading. There's a lot of comments coming in, everybody, so bear with us. The comments are about holiday, Pasco County. Coastal Pasco County, to be more specific, says a dose of Gen Lu. What can we expect there? And then I'm going to try to say this one. Accra? How will storm surge be in Holiday about 3 miles inland?
So storm surge isn't going to reach a mile, right? But US 19 is relatively close to the coast. So anyone that lives around US 19 or west is going to experience a lot of storm surge. They're looking at about 6 to 10 foot in Pasco and Hernando counties. You're 3 miles in, so you're not going to have to worry about storm surge. But anywhere north of Hillsborough can easily see 70 to even hurricane force wind gusts.
Let's go to Unique Journey, Cape Coral. Recently moved here from Tampa. What can Unique expect there?
Cape Coral. So Cape Coral is full of canals, and they do tend to flood quite easily. But, in that area, and that's right near Fort Myers for people that are listening, you're probably get a couple inches, 2 to 3 inches of rain throughout all of this, and tropical storm force wind, but nothing greater than 50 miles per hour. So in Cape Coral, you're not going to have to deal. You may actually get a little bit of storm surge from the Caloosahatchee if you're in the southern portions of Cape Coral, if you're near the river. But again, you're looking at about 2 to 4 foot, and the banks, I believe, are pretty close to that. So you won't see too much flooding from that. And I don't think you'll see too much flooding from the rainfall either.
A couple questions coming in from the impact zone. Jamie wants to know about, it says hashtags first both. What should we expect in Dixie County? That's right in the heart of the Big Bend, Eric. Steinhatchee, Horseshoe Beach. I mean, again, a spot that has seen hurricane damage in recent years, and they are likely last year, and likely in for more.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if 12 to 16 foot of storm surge, as this is expected to make landfall just barely to the west of Steinhatchee, Cross City area, Perry, and even Cedar Key's a little bit further down, but still, devastating. I would not be there. I would definitely be evacuating if I were you.
I would imagine that now that's outside the Tampa Bay market, so we don't have information at our fingertips, specifically in Dixie County. But I would imagine that a lot of Dixie County, multiple zones right now, are under evacuation orders or guidances. And you've been through this before. If you're in Dixie County, you know the drill. So be careful, please. Also, speaking of being careful, Abby Perez saying to talk about Tallahassee for the or FSU, FAMU students there, please. Yeah, Florida A&M, FSU. Look, it's going to be rough. There's no other way to put it, really, right?
You can see the map right there. If this is a Category 4 or a 3, either way, it's a major hurricane just, coming on shore just south of Tallahassee. And whether you're on the west side or the east side of the storm just by a few miles, it won't really make a difference because you're not going to, experience the storm surge that far inland. But, boy, I tell you, well, wind gust at 130 to 140 miles per hour, that's not going to be pretty. And like I said, it's going to happen at night too. So if you can get out of there, if you can go west, if you've got friends west, say Crestview to Pensacola on the Panhandle, and you can go over there, I would definitely do that. It's only a couple hour drive, but it'll save you a lot of heartache.
Things are getting a little bit of optimism here. Things are getting a little bit better for Jacksonville. We should probably pass that along with the track nudging west, especially over the course of the last 24 hours. Micro shifts to the west. But Jacksonville's still going to feel it, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this micro shift is really making much of a difference because, like I said, the tropical storm force wind encompasses so many miles to the east of the storm that Jacksonville is going to feel tropical storm force wind effects, regardless if this makes landfall in Panama City, Apalachicola, but obviously maybe 5 miles per hour weaker. Either way, at least they're not going to have to deal with any storm surge there. Most of the wind is pushing the water kind of parallel to the coast and then away from the coast.
Let's go to Fort Walton Beach for Blue Beanie. Hashtags for us both. What can you expect in FWB?
Now, isn't that near Destin? Isn't that west of?
Yes.
So
is that Okaloosa County? I'm going to just double check.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Fort Walton Beach is well west of Panama City, so I don't think
it is Okaloosa County.
I don't really think they're going to deal with much. At least they're not going to deal with any storm surge. Tropical storm force wind, of course, but not hurricane force wind, and definitely not wind gusts more than 50.
It's interesting with this. Well, we could call it a micro shift or a nudge to the west. However
nudge
you want
to the west.
How do you like describing it?
Yeah, just a slight nudge to the west,
like a little elbow to the west. Let's look. With every little elbow to the west, there's more, fringe Alabama impacts, including in Dothan. Our sister station, WDHN, is there. So Lori wants to know about Dothan, Alabama.
Yeah, extreme southeast Alabama, pretty close to the Florida border. Definitely going to experience tropical storm force wind and a couple of inches of rain. It'll be bad for a few hours overnight, Thursday night into Friday. But you might sleep right through it. But by the time you wake up, this storm is going to be a lot further away from you and into western Georgia. So tropical storm force wind, for a few hour period of time and a couple inches of rain is about it.
We've had a lot of questions today about Inverness. I meant earlier when I said that we would cover the map as much as we can over the course of several live streams today. So Kathy says, when is the worst going to be for Inverness? I see Crystal River, but nothing mentioned for us. We got you, Kathy. We're here, and other people in Inverness, we're here. The winds, how bad will they be? Not really concerned about flooding, she says. I have a disabled husband, and I'm nervous about the winds knocking out power. Definitely a concern. Power outages are going to be expected across the region, but specifically, if we can go hyper local for Inverness, what do we say for Kathy?
When I say Citrus County, I don't just mean Crystal River, Inverness, Arlington, Dunellen, cities like that, towns like that, where you could definitely see a wind gust over 70 miles per hour, because this storm is going to be very, very strong, and it's going to be closer to Crystal River and Inverness than it is to Tampa. So I wouldn't be surprised if you had hurricane force wind gust in Inverness for, at least a couple hour period of time. Sustained wind over 60 miles per hour. So hopefully that'll help.
Okay, so Lisa says, will it impact Fort Myers Friday morning? She says that she's flying into there from Boston.
Oh, I wonder which flight she's taking, because I'm sure I've taken that flight many times. No, Friday morning I think you'll be fine. The only thing is, Well, you know what? They may not even have to fly around the storm because
that's what I was going to ask.
As I put this
for pilots in the area. Okay, so let's say you're flying from Boston to Sarasota on Friday. I mean, are pilots going to be navigating around this storm? I would imagine so.
And I mean, look, 2 o'clock in the morning, it's a Category 1. By 6, 7 o'clock, when any plane would start flying, it would be a tropical storm. And again, this is going to move eventually to the northwest, right? So they'll definitely be able to fly around this. And this is, leaving Fort Myers, going to Boston, probably it might be the 6 a.m. flight that I've taken before. But either way, this storm will be well into central Georgia and west central Georgia. So several hundred miles away from Fort Myers. I think you'll be able to get that flight off just fine.
Okay, so to our audience, as a reminder, there are people who are a little bit confused by this. You have to put in #HeyEric or #HeyJB. That's not just done because we want to hear our names over and over again. That's not the reason why we use this system. If we try to see all of the comments at once, it's extremely hard for me to be able to do my job. The scrolling chat is very active right now. And there are some people that don't have questions. They just want to chat back and forth with their fellow viewers. It's totally fine. Don't use a hashtag, and then I won't see it. You guys can continue to chat amongst yourselves back and forth. If you're trying to get on the live stream and you're trying to get the attention of myself and Eric Stone, use #HeyEric or #HeyJB or both. It doesn't matter if you use them both together. One or the other is fine. It just then will load onto my screen here in the stream center. But just using #HeyAnyone doesn't work. So I've seen some people who have been asking, why does that not work? It's because it's literally mapped for that system. #HeyJB, #HeyEric, and then we can animate your comments on screen as follows. Monica, will Clearwater, Florida be impacted bad?
Yeah, I mean, hurricane force wind gusts, 70 to 80 mile per hour wind gusts in Clearwater. Obviously, at Clearwater Beach, the intercoastal storm surge could be 5 to 8 feet in that area in Pinellas County. But Clearwater itself, 2 to 4 inches of rain, and the strong gusty wind is what's really gonna be the factor. I got an interesting text just now from a friend of mine that has a vacation property at Reddington Beach, right? And he said, I've got my SUV parked there at Reddington Beach. Do I need to have somebody move it? And that's a very interesting question because many people don't even think about that. Some people have vacation houses down here on the water and they have another car down here. And I told him, I said, yeah. I said, of course. He said, well, it hasn't flooded in 20 years. I said, well, 5 to 8 foot of storm surge, chances are if you're on the first floor or even up toward the second floor, you could be flooded. So, if you have any cars, and that's something that can easily be the problem can be solved just by moving it to a higher level or moving it away from the shoreline,
I just want to let you know, Eric, I was just informed by the WFLA newsroom that our live appearance in the 5:30 half hour is no longer occurring as a result of some live press conferences that have made its way into that hour. So we don't have to worry about broadcast television for the next half hour. We can continue on with our live stream coverage. Can we back up the map so we can show the Cat 4?
Yep.
Yeah, and everyone pay attention here. So, again, it's now a Cat 1. Actually, I'm curious about this. Is there any way to because if I'm seeing this correctly, are we skipping Cat 3 entirely?
Let's see.
Check this out, folks. And it's the way that the graphics are.
Yeah, it goes quickly. Let me try and.
I would like to manipulate the graphics. How?
Here we go.
I'm trying to remember. Look at this.
No, it does go from a Cat 2. So a Cat 2 is 96 to 110. A Cat 3 would be 125.
I'm trying to remember if we've ever had a storm, at least on this program, that has jumped a category level between updates. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock, or even 11 o'clock to 5 o'clock.
Jump 2?
Jump 2. Is that you ever?
No.
Jump from a Cat 2 to a Cat 4?
But look, that's Thursday. That's overnight tonight at 2 o'clock in the morning, and then
right over a 12-hour period.
Yeah, and we get our updates every 3 hours. So I mean, that's not gonna happen. But keep in mind, over a 12-hour period, That's really only a 20-mile-per-hour jump. Do you see that? So that would be every 3 hours it going up 5 miles per hour. And that's not really, when you think about it, that's not too rapid. You know what I'm saying? It just happened to be that, a Category 2, the high end of it is 110, right? The low end of a 3 is 115 to 125, and the low end of a 4 is at 130. So it's basically the highest end of a Cat 2 to the lowest end of a Cat 4.
I get what you're saying, but have we been a little bit desensitized to rapid intensification in recent years because of how common it has sort of become with our ocean waters being as warm as they've become in recent years? I mean, like this right here, going from a Cat 2 to a Cat 4 in less than 20, or I'm sorry, a Cat 1 to a Cat 4 in less than 24 hours. I feel like 10 years ago, that would have been mind-blowingly and like borderline impossible. But now we're just, okay, yeah, in 24 hours, we're going to go from a Cat 1 to a Cat 4. That's rapid intensification. But like it's this normal thing when I can't help but feel like sometimes maybe we shouldn't be normalizing something that is scientifically just mind-blowing.
Well, Ian went up, I want to say 25 miles an hour in like 6 hours.
Right.
To me, that is rapid intensification. This is going up 20 miles per hour in 12 hours, which is still intensifying at a quick pace. But it's really only going, so at 2 o'clock in the morning, it's a 110. At 5 o'clock, it'd be 115. At 8 o'clock, it might be 120. And then by 2 o'clock, it's 130. So it's really not, when you think about it, it's not that huge jump that we've seen with other storms. But I think the reason being is because of how fast this thing is moving. If this was moving a lot slower, I really think that this thing would be easily a Cat 5.
So if this thing were slower, we're talking Cat 5.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt about it.
Yeah. It's even with the speed, let's say speed, again, this thing is about to hit the gas pedal hard. I mean, look, you can see it there with the time intervals on this map, and that's why I like this view, because we can see it better. Starting tomorrow morning, really sunrise tomorrow, it's like this thing it's on to the races. I mean, it's really going to pick up a lot of north by northwest speed. So, I mean, yeah, chances, if it maintains its speed, chances of Cat 5 are still probably pretty low, right?
Yeah, no. Because I don't think it's going to reach Cat 4 until it's like parallel to Tampa, right?
Yeah.
And there's not much left. There's not much area to work with after that. And the water temperatures, they're warm, but they're not 90-something degrees, There's not as much energy to intense. It would have to be a 160, you know what I'm saying? It's just not going to, 155, it's just not going to happen.
Our great moderator, Chelsea, saying that Nikki has been here all 3 streams asking about Plant City. Oh. Well, let's just take a moment to say thank you, Nikki, for your patience, and thank you, Chelsea, for alerting us to that. Plant City, love Plant City.
Yeah,
local question for a local viewer. So Plant City, what do
pretty
say?
Far inland Hillsborough. So obviously you're not going to worry about storm surge. Probably not going to have much rain, 2 to 3 inches at most. We did have a pretty sweet band of rain come by. Did you see it out the window about 4 o'clock, JB?
Yeah.
I mean, the wind was gusting already. And I mean, Helene is 400, 500 miles away, 400 miles. And, we had a pretty heavy rain band. Of course, they move quickly, so they don't drop that much rain. But still, Plant City, 2 to 3 inches of rain possible. And I don't think you'll quite get to 70-mile-an-hour gusts. I think you'll be more like closer to 55 to 60.
That's our tower cam located, I think, about 60, 70, 80 feet above our heads from where we are sitting right now at WFLA in downtown Tampa. Let's move here to the Skyway Bridge that is currently getting refreshed on Florida511.com. So as soon as we get, I think our team right now is checking out some different cameras. We'll come back to this momentarily. Back here with you live. Eric Stone, JB Buno here with you, answering your questions with hashtag #HeyEric, hashtag #HeyJB. I saw it brought up in the comments section with our moderators. Look, no spaces, hashtag #HeyJB, hashtag #HeyEric, and we can animate your comments live. Let's see here. Looking at some other questions that are that are coming in. Let's hot punch in some ones that have just come in the last few moments. Let's see. Let's go to Wile E. Coyote. You like Looney Tunes?
I love Looney Tunes.
Man,
I always rooted for Wile E. Coyote to catch the
too.
Roadrunner,
Man.
but he was just too smart, and that poor guy always fell off a cliff. So
well Wile E. Coyote on
out.
YouTube Live in the middle of chasing Roadrunner is asking us this question: what will wind speeds look like in Winter Haven tomorrow?
I mean, I definitely not more than 50. I'd say tropical storm 40 to 45 or so. Winter Haven being so far east in Polk County that I just don't think that they're gonna, be any more sustained at least than 40, maybe gusting to 50 or so, but definitely substantially less than our coastline.
So, Scotty, I'm so glad you asked, because let's talk about this now. Scotty's asking, how's the KJB flight out of Tampa on Friday morning? How's it looking? So, there's two sides to this coin, right? One, they're professionals at TPA. They deal with they have dealt with hurricanes and tropical storms in the past and significant delays in the past. There's been other non-weather related delays that have occurred with airports in the southeastern United States. Airports adjust. However, with that said, do not expect a leisurely time at the airport on Friday morning. It's probably going to be a bit chaotic. Now, as of right now, TPA has suspended air operations. Tampa International Airport has ceased air operations, both commercial and cargo, beginning really at midnight tonight through really what we expect to be the majority, if not all, of Thursday, likely to resume at some point on Friday once Helene has cleared out and the fringe impacts of Helene has cleared out. But then, look, it's a lot of catch-up. I mean, that's what airports do. That's what airlines do. It's playing catch-up. So Friday might be, a lot of people, sleeping, in the air terminals, trying to get comfortable and waiting for their flight to actually leave TPA. Eric, this is kind of par for the course. When
I mean, the one thing people don't think about is what if, some debris, gets blown on the runway from the strong wind. There could be a cleanup effort, Friday morning that would keep the airport closed, at least for several hours, maybe till about lunchtime or so, until the runways are all cleaned up. As far as the weather, the wind will be back to 15, 20 miles an hour. It's not going to be an issue. But if debris or trees or branches or, whatever is blown on the runway, they got to clean that up first. And they're not going to do it Thursday night. They're going to do it Friday morning.
A look at the Skyway Bridge. This is live, I think, in the Northwest Direct. I think that's what NW means. Like we're looking northwest, right? So the shake is because of wind speeds. What would you approximate, Eric, there? Now? I mean,
granted, the towers, and you're almost at the very top of that, so it's going to be a lot stronger there than, once you get on the other side. Probably 20, 25, at most, maybe 30 at the most, gusting.
Yeah, I mean, they closed the bridge at 40. So, but we know that it's in excess of 20 miles an hour because they've issued a bridge advisory warning motorists to, of course, drive with caution, because you'll feel it. You'll feel it at the steering wheel when driving across the bridge, and that, of course, is something that you don't want. You don't want to feel like you don't have proper control of your vehicle, and then you're, weaving and potentially causing, an accident. So be careful on the roadways, folks, especially on our local bridges. The Skyway is pretty high up, and so they get considerable gusts when we have severe weather approaching. Dave, hashtags for us both. This isn't too close to the storm, but how about East Orlando? We were talking about Wile E. Coyote. So let me ask you this. Are Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck, are they just going to be like waving as the storm goes on by?
Mickey Mouse, I think, is on the west side of
Orlando.
So he might be talking. I've got a friend that lives in the Lake Nona area, St. Cloud area, which, Lake Nona is to the east, southeast of Orlando. So maybe Oviedo's up that way too. You might see some rogue wind gusts over 40 miles an hour, but all in all, it's not going to be terrible at all in eastern Orlando.
All right, let's go for Silly Sam. You're up next, asking about Gainesville, Florida. Yeah, I mean, Gatorland. I mean, what are we talking about there?
Yeah, definitely could experience close to hurricane force wind gusts, 60 to 70, I would say. Definitely not sustained over that because they're further inland. And, 3 to 4 inches of rain at most. Maybe a little bit less than that, depending on, if you get some of these heavy rain bands. Because these rain bands, they're not going to affect everybody. They're just going to form, and then they move up quickly. And then some people will get a half inch to an inch, and then other people won't get anything. Some people will get a tenth of an inch. So when everything's all totaled out, anywhere, along I-75 or east of 75, maybe 2 to 3 inches at most. But again, the wind is going to be the major issue for, anything that's not near the storm surge coast.
Let's go to Nokomis for Derek, watching the two of you guys, maybe 2 miles from the beach. Should storm surge be a concern?
Nah, storm surge in that area, which is near the Venice area, Osprey area, you're 2 miles in, so you'll be fine. As far as wind goes, yeah, tropical storm wind, 50 miles an hour, so 40 to 50. But yeah, you'll be fine with storm surge.
So I had to look this one up. Rick is asking about Chiefland.
Oh yeah, that's a little bit further north.
Yeah, it is.
But that's on the coast, isn't it?
Well, it's inland.
Inland
inland
a little bit.
I mean, on U.S. Highway 98.
Yeah, I don't know if it stretches all the way to the coast though.
Oh, it might. It's basically.
I know, like the downtown. I've driven through the downtown area of Chiefland before, which was several miles from the coast. As long as you're a couple miles, as long as you're more than a mile from the coastline, you're not going to see any storm surge. In Fort Myers, even a mile inland didn't. I mean, it was almost 16, 18 foot at Fort Myers Beach. But once you got a mile inland, there was, it didn't really reach that far. So, my rule of thumb is if you're at least a mile inland, then you're not going to really deal with storm surge.
Let me point out something real quick. Derek was saying, hey, people are right now, watching. Some people are watching, on their TVs or on their device. If you're watching us on a TV, smart TV, or if you've like Chromecast to your TV at home, we love to see the faces of the people that watch this program too. So, and we love to give folks the opportunity to be on the program with a picture. So if you guys, I've pointed this out on previous streams. It's a fun opportunity to show how people are learning about weather, learning about the storms that we track. If you guys take a selfie and send it into WFLA.com/report it, kind of show us, that you guys are, like watching us, whether you have your laptop out on the couch, with a bowl of popcorn, or maybe you've got Tracking the Tropics on your big screen TV. We want to see how you guys are watching the program. We would love to see your faces, and then as well, we'd love to see the pets at home. As a pet lover, an animal lover, I would love to see your dogs and cats curled up on the couch if you guys are watching us. So at some point later on, perhaps in this stream or in a next live stream, because we have an additional live stream coming up later tonight with Jeff Baradelli. We might try to spotlight some of those pictures that are coming in. So just a quick mention to send in Tracking the Tropics selfies. You guys watching Tracking the Tropics, send it into WFLA.com/report it. And we'd love to see some friendly faces. And if you're shy, you don't want to show your face, maybe show your dog, your cat, your other animals that are staying safe throughout the storm. We would love to see it. Anything to add there, Eric?
No, I mean we love the pets. We're trying to get
bring
Rebecca,
them in. Bring them inside.
We're trying to get Rebecca to bring her cute dog, but the dog's in a shelter. The dog's being watched now. So
these comments are coming in really fast, everybody. So please be patient. I'm trying to get to as many as possible, and also too, there are a lot of comments that I see, and I go to load, but it's based on a city that we have talked about over and over again today. We are trying to cover the map. So if you're like, hey, why won't JB take my question? It might be based on a city or a town that we have addressed already. We need to cover as many locations as possible. So please don't feel slighted if you're repeating your comment and we're not taking it, it might be because we've already taken it in the form of somebody else's question. Let's go to Leah. Some travel advice here. Flying into Orlando around 6 o'clock tomorrow. Ooh. The odds of cancellation?
Well, I mean, it kind of depends where you're flying from.
Right.
Maybe if you're flying from the East Coast, I don't know. It's going to be kind of dicey. 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. Yeah, I don't know about that one. You have to check with the airline on that.
Stepping into grace. Hey, JB, how fast do you expect sustained wind and also gusts in Sarasota? And also, too, what time frame?
So, I mean, we might as well just show the map with wind because a lot of people are asking. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go with our in-house model right here. So tomorrow morning, you look at Sarasota, and I'll do the whole area for everyone. Not much difference between Tampa and Sarasota in the 30s. Sustained wind in the 20s. Once we get to about lunchtime or so, we'll start to see the sustained wind 25 to 35. Sarasota, pretty close to the same, gusting up to around 40 or so. And then once we get into the latter part of the afternoon, Sarasota a little bit earlier, I would say 4 or 5 o'clock, we'll see wind gusts over 50 to 55 miles an hour. And sustained winds over 40 to 45, which is tropical storm force. And then once we get into the evening, Sarasota, Bradenton, 9 o'clock. I do expect Sarasota winds to dip below 50 miles an hour in the gust department. And then once we get to midnight or so, really start to calm down and also heading into your Friday morning.
Yeah, the graph model here, speaks volumes for, the expectations in the hours ahead with Hurricane Helene. I can't believe I mentioned report it without mentioning the primary function. Here I am calling, we'd love to see you guys, sending in selfies on WFLA.com/report it to show you guys watching the program. Report It's main function. The reason that Report It was built was to give people the opportunity to send in really their storm video, storm pictures. So this is a PSA that basically, we have weather watchers across the state of Florida that join us on Tracking the Tropics. And look, you have to be safe. There isn't a picture or a video worth compromising your safety. So please be safe. But if you document the storm, if you do have video that you think that we should see, video that you yourself have taken, whether it's significant wind gusts outside or flooding or storm surge or debris, down power lines, down trees, down trees over main roadways or down power lines over neighborhood roadways. This is really helpful for us to be able to document what's happening in all time. We're a television station and we have news crews across the state of Florida. We're traveling up north. We have crews stationed really around the Tampa Bay area. But there isn't a television station in the world that can be everywhere at once. That's where you guys come in. So you can use your cameras on your smartphones to be able to send in pictures and video to document what's happening. On WFLA.com/report it, you can put in your name or your username. It doesn't have to be your name. Your name. If you're weird about that kind of thing, you don't want to put in your name on a news website. Totally get it. You can put in your username if you'd like, or your real name. It doesn't matter. And there's a field there for your location. Let us know. Are you watching from Newport Richey? Are you watching from Winter Haven? Are you watching from Sarasota? And where that photo and that video originated from is really what we're looking for so that we can then bring it directly into the stream. Report It, pictures and videos come directly here into the stream center. It literally pops up on one of my screens here so I can see real-time storm damage as the pictures and videos come in on WFLA.com/report it. So obviously the storm is closer to Mexico right now than it is to the United States. But as we get impacts tomorrow, just remember that you can send it in to WFLA.com/report it, and we will be spotlighting a lot of videos and pictures on our live stream tomorrow, especially in the back end of the day when, Helene's presence is really felt in the Tampa Bay area and elsewhere in the Big Bend, Eric.
Yeah, that's right. And, we'll have the radar going. Tornadoes not out of the question. We could see isolated tornadoes in the Bay Area. In fact, just about all of the West Coast from north to south, and even in the central part of the state with the rain bands could see tornadoes, very weak ones, but still, we had a lot of tornado warnings with Debbie, especially inland, for several hours in a row. So I wouldn't be surprised if that followed suit with this storm as well.
All right, let's continue on. Jonathan and Mariana want to know, what about Bradenton, Florida, Eric?
Yeah, I showed the wind, 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gust in Bradenton throughout Thursday evening, and a couple of inches of rain. Again, a little bit further inland from any waterway, so you wouldn't have to worry about storm surge unless you're really close to the coast. But yeah, a couple inches of rain, 2 to 3, maybe 2 to 4 at most, and then 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gust.
Let's continue on here. And okay, this one I believe I'm going to have to look up, unless you happen to know this one. How bad it's going to be in Paulding County, Georgia. Hey guys, look, we
don't know that one.
We can't know every county everywhere in the United States, especially outside of Florida. So let's look up Paulding County. And it is located, it's just northwest of Atlanta.
Oh, northwest. Okay. So, I mean, this system, as you can see, by the time it, I'll zoom in a bit, but by the time we get into Friday, look at that. It decreases in strength, JB, just as fast as it increases, right? It goes from a Category 1 hurricane at 2 a.m. 12 hours later, it's back to a tropical depression or a remnant low. So you'll get a lot of rain, and in the mountainous areas, of course, flash flooding is a concern, especially in the Appalachians, as this storm pretty much just kind of sits over the Tennessee Valley, from Friday on till Sunday. So for northwest Georgia, some flooding concerns, inland flooding, several inches of rain once the system gets to your neck of the woods, but not much in the way of wind. It'll be breezy, but nothing like tropical storm force.
All right, let's go to... Next up is Cheryl. Hashtag, hey, Eric, what's the storm surge looking like for Bonita Springs?
Yeah, looking right about 2 to 4 feet in Bonita Springs toward Fort Myers area. Obviously nothing like Ian, thank God. But, there'll be some beach erosions and, Bonita Beach Road that goes down through Estero Island and Fort Myers Beach will probably be under some sort of water, but it's not going to be floating houses away or inundating the first floors of houses and hotels like Ian did.
Let's go to Aether Glitch, I think, if I'm pronouncing that right, man. Hey, JB, Panama City Beach, PCB, Florida. Should I evacuate? I'm not on the beach directly. About 7 miles inland from the beach.
Yeah, I mean, if they don't tell you to evacuate and you're in a sturdy structure, then you could stay put. Again, you're going to be on the west side of the storm, and it's looking like if this continues to nudge an inch west and more west, which I don't know. I just have a feeling that it might just go back to where it was before, just slightly east. Either way, you could see 70 mile per hour wind gusts at Panama City Beach, maybe. And again, it all depends on the track. If this moves further west than you probably will, you may not even see, you may be around 50 mile an hour gusts if this does kind of inch back toward the east.
I'm going to try to hot punch in some stuff here from Report It really quickly. Let's see if we can make that happen. I believe I can. Not really set up for it just yet, but oh yeah, check this out. Okay, so I promised that we were going to show some friendly faces, people watching the program from around the area. Let's go full screen here. Let's see. So on WFLA.com/report it, this is Sharon watching on her laptop. It says this is in Largo, Florida, Wednesday around 6 o'clock. Oh, it says almost 6 o'clock there in the top right. Hello, Sharon, and big shout out for the people that are watching the program and willing to send in a friendly face. For Sharon in Largo, let's give her a forecast. What can we expect there?
Yeah, Largo, I think, is far enough inland that you're not going to deal with a storm surge. I'm not. Yeah, because Largo doesn't go all the way to the coast, so you should be fine in regards to storm surge, unless you're like right up along the intercoastal, but you're definitely going to experience 70 to even 80 mile per hour wind gusts, so hurricane force wind gusts. And I wouldn't be surprised if you had sustained tropical storm force wind 50 to 60, maybe even 65 miles an hour.
All right, Sharon, we really appreciate it. You guys, we're going to be looking for more. Look, we get to spotlight the people that are watching and commenting along, and it's cool to see people that are participating in the program beyond just typing in their comment. You know, we're kind of like a radio show where we spotlight people, you know, like people calling in, but with a comment, it's just not as personal because we don't get to really see people. We get to see some profile pictures sometimes, but it's just not the same. So seeing people watching the program, we love it. You can send your selfies. Just show us yourself watching, tracking the tropics, and send it into WFLA.com/report it. And then, of course, tomorrow you can send in your storm videos and pictures. Just be safe out there if you do so. Again, WFLA.com/report it. Steve, #Hey Eric. Will Jim Cantore be making an appearance for this storm somewhere in Pinellas County?
You're close.
We have heard that he has been in Newport Richey, but we should probably point out that if Jim is on the move, he's moving north, not south, right?
Right. I actually saw a picture on my Facebook of Jim Cantore's Weather Channel vehicle, which I'm kind of jealous of.
Is it awesome?
It looks really cool. I mean, it's more of a crossover SUV type, but just the way it's painted and everything, I guess you know it's him. I guess he's in Port Richey right now at a hotel. They did name the hotel. I won't say where, but he's not in Pinellas County, but he's close. He's in, coastal Pasco County, just over the border.
All right. Well, Jim, be safe out there and don't come anywhere towards us. All right. Like, hey, nowhere near where we're located, please. Everyone's saying the same exact thing. Jody, hey, JB, what direction will the wind be coming in for Sarasota, just a few miles inland from Siesta Key, also for St. Pete Beach? Will it be the same direction as Ian? Wind direction is relatively important, Eric.
Oh, it's very important. No, unfortunately, it's not going to be the same direction because Ian moved to our south. So Ian was blowing water away from the coastline. It was blowing water from the northeast, right? This is going to be first blowing water from the wind will be blowing from the southeast. And as the storm gets closer to Tampa, the wind is going to shift from southeast to south. So that's when we're really going to start to see some of that storm surge. And that's going to occur sometime early to mid-afternoon in southern areas such as Manatee and Sarasota counties. Once we get to Thursday evening, then the storm moves to our north. Then we're on the southeast side of the storm, which means the wind blows southwest, which means it blows right onto our coastline. And the bottleneck effect takes place where the water's being blown from the Gulf of Mexico into Tampa Bay, then into the rivers and streams from Tampa Bay. And that's where we're going to see the at least 3 to 6 foot surge come late Thursday evening. And a lot of the high tides come really late, in fact, even into the overnight hours heading into Friday morning. And that southwest wind's going to continue through early Friday.
We're going to get to some more reported pictures coming in here in just a minute because I see a bunch more coming in. A live look at the Skyway Bridge. Why? Man, everyone's heading in one direction.
They're all going home.
Everyone's going home. But, I mean, people, go across, the bay for various reasons. It's weird that can we get one car heading towards Manatee?
There we go. Hey,
My good. Where is no one wants to head to Manatee County, apparently. No,
they were stuck at the toll booth.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Now
you see a lot of people.
We will check this camera tomorrow, and it will be shaking way worse than it is right now. For Mindy, let's go to Citrus County. #Hey Eric.
So, and again, so we don't leave Inverness, Arlington out versus Crystal River, but, the storm surge will impact Crystal River, and we're looking at least 10 to 15 foot, and that's a couple feet worse than Idalia. And I remember JB and I were looking at that. It wasn't a yardstick, but it had feet on it.
That's right.
And we were watching a stop sign, and we'll probably watch that tomorrow too. Hopefully we'll have the same shot. Now, I don't know if that stop sign survived.
It did.
It survived?
We had, what was the stream? We had a stream relatively recently where
I love it.
So our comment section, I don't know why, I don't remember. My brain has been melted since becoming a dad. Parents out there can relate. Since becoming a dad, the first year of being a parent has been one that has literally melted the neurons in my brain. But for some reason, that stop sign was named Stoppy.
Oh, is that what we finally named it, or the viewers named it?
Well, because it was just holding on for dear life, but it would not let go of the ground. It was like it was just wavering in the storm waters there. Where was that? That was
Crystal River.
That was Crystal River.
Tomorrow's going to be the test.
It was Crystal River, right?
And and I hope that
I don't remember.
I don't even know if we're going to be able to get that same camera shot because the water is going to be even higher. But I bet you that yardstick or whatever you want to call it, I think it only went to what, 14 inches or 14 feet rather,
Yeah,
and it got up to 11 or 12 with Adalia. But this time, I think the stop sign is going to be completely underwater, and that yardstick might be completely underwater or footstick. I don't even know what you'd call it.
Stoppy is on the tip of our tongues again, man. Yeah, no, that stop sign was a metaphor for how people were holding on for hope that everything would be okay. Yeah, no, that's a throwback.
To answer the question, storm surge will be a couple feet more, and the wind, definitely hurricane force wind gusts up to 80 to even 85 miles per hour. Crystal River, I'd say 70 to 80 further east, Inverness and Arlington in that area.
So it's a little early for this question, okay? It's a little early for this question, but look, it is protocol for the National Hurricane Center that when a storm makes landfall, and let's define landfall. Landfall is the center of the eye, not the eye wall, center of the eye, going across land. Like if you were looking bird's eye view, looking straight down, it's the crosshairs, the center of the eye moving across land. That's when the NHC will put out a special advisory declaring a landfall event. When they do declare a landfall event, they declare it for a location. And these locations become, somewhat infamous. It's an ominous thing to be a landfall location, right? Because you live on in the weather history books, so to speak, as being, okay, that's the spot where insert storm name here made landfall. People, are already wondering about landfall, including Emily, saying, where are we expecting landfall? Now, we have tremendous model consensus, which is the only reason I'm entertaining this question. So if you were to really zoom in, Eric, on that area,
I would need to manipulate this map to
see towns and stuff,
have other towns, and Jeff's on the air right now, and I don't want to mess with this while he's on the air. But I do have one other graphic that shows. So this one shows Perry, and you have Perry, and then to the west of it you have Steinhatchee, I believe it's called. And
Rachel Tucker, our producer, said we got to get that one right. Steinhatchee.
Oh, it's Steinhatchee.
Yeah,
okay.
So I want to make sure that again pronunciations.
And you have Cross City, and then further east you have, I believe it's Horseshoe Beach, and then you have Cedar Key. Well down, if you see my little mouse here, can they? Oh, no, they can't see the little mouse.
No.
Right where the sea is on Crystal River, just north of that on your screen is about where Cedar Key is. So it's like one or two counties to the north. I think this is going to be closer to Perry, although I don't think Perry is a coastal town. I think it's a few miles inland. So maybe I'll guesstimate. Remember this, Horseshoe Beach is what I'm going to say. And I'm going to say 8 p.m. tomorrow. That's my edumacated guess.
Edumacated guess? Edumacated guess? I like it. I like it. Let's continue on. Let's go to Jolene asking about Zephyr Hills. We've got 5 more minutes in the Q&A. Then we're going to spotlight some reported pictures coming in. So last call on this live stream. Got tons of more live streams ahead. But 5 more minutes in the live Q&A with Eric Stone and myself, and then we'll look at Report It.
Yeah, I mean, we've actually talked about Zephyr Hills quite often. It's far enough inland where you probably get 50 to 60 mile per hour gusts and maybe 3 inches of rain at most if you do get stuck in one of those rain bands. But again, you're so far away from the coast. The storm surge is what's really going to affect people with this storm more than maybe anything else. So if you're further inland, you're going to it's going to be windy, and you're going to have some damage, especially with trees that are, either dead or very weak, falling onto power lines, roadways, and God forbid houses. But along the coast is really where we're going to see the extensive damage.
Let's go to, GHXST. I don't even know how to pronounce, like, Gehext. GHXST. I don't know. Hey, JB and Eric, how bad will it be in Columbus, Georgia? Passing along some love as well.
So, yeah, actually, I do know where that is. I have a friend that's going there. So that's pretty much on the border of Alabama and Georgia, further north. I think more northerly than halfway up the state. So why don't we just extend this cone, and you can see by the time it gets to Columbus, it's going to be, and I believe it's right in this area between both of those timestamps. You probably see tropical storm force wind gusts for a short period of time. But again, in that area of Georgia, you'll be on the west side of the storm. It does look like you'll see several inches of rain. And especially in the higher terrain where, flash flooding could be an issue, it's not going to be pretty there.
Let's go to Gidget. I missed earlier today, was trying to find out about Polk County and being in a mobile home park in Polk County. See, this is one of those questions, Gidget, and you feel free to follow up with your comment. Polk County's a big county, right?
Is.
So
yes.
This comment is hard for Eric to pinpoint. Where your mobile home might be could really dictate, obviously, different impacts. So,
like I said, I've got close friends in Naples, and that was very far from the center of Ian. And they had 50 to 60 mile an hour gusts, and their roof was ripped off. And many roofs that I saw were ripped off. And depending on if you live like Lakeland westward versus Davenport, Winter Haven, Auburndale, Indian Lakes, if you do get 50 to 60 mile an hour wind gusts, those roofs of those mobile homes can easily, unfortunately, be torn apart. So that's what I would worry about the most. But if you're in the eastern portion of Polk County, you'll definitely get a fare better. But I would worry Lakeland westward.
All right, let's go to Polk. Gidget, follow it up. Polk City.
Oh, Polk City.
Is the
okay.
spot.
So yeah, boy, it's north of I-4, but it's again, the further north you go, the closer to the storm you're going to be, right? So you're definitely going to be seeing wind gusts up to 50 to 60 miles per hour. And depending on how strong that roof is on your mobile home, it could get a little dicey.
If I remember correctly, you know the Punta Gorda area well?
Yes.
Yeah, you do, right?
Oh, yeah.
How much possible flooding for Punta Gorda? I live about a mile north of the Peace River.
Well, okay, so a little bit further to the east. You're probably actually going to you'll get some storm surge from Charlotte Harbor into the Peace River and then into Punta Gorda. But I think you're far enough inland. Downtown Punta Gorda really, really floods. When I worked down in Fort Myers, I was out there reporting, and I was just wearing my regular clothes. And the main anchor for Christmas and my birthday gave me these rubber shoes, boots, and pants, windproof pants, waterproof pants, and said, "Hey, you need this if you're going to be doing that." So downtown Punta Gorda can flood, but you know what? In this case, the storm's moving so fast that you're only going to get a couple of inches of rain. And I think you're far enough east and far enough away from Charlotte Harbor. And since Charlotte Harbor is, 2-3 foot of storm surge going into the Peace River, it might overflow the banks a bit. But if you're a mile to the north of it, you're not going to have to worry about that.
Ruskin is the focus. I mean, we've had a lot of questions about Ruskin.
Okay,
and
so
I'm sorry that we're just getting to it now, but Kathy wants to know.
The one interesting thing about Ruskin, and I want to show the possible storm surge, and this will be at the very end of this, although, again, you can see the northern counties, 10-plus feet of storm surge. But there's a lot of waterways in the Ruskin area, and you can see 1, 2, even 3 foot of surge in the Ruskin area. So it really depends how close are you to a waterway, and how flood prone of area are you in? So, if Idalia caused flooding, then this is definitely going to cause flooding, because we're going to see more storm surge amounts in places like Apollo Beach, Ruskin, and even Sun City down to Piney Point. So we want to kind of use it as a reference. First of all, where are you in Ruskin? If you're west of 41, you may be dealing with some storm surge issues. And what happened last time with Idalia? Did you deal with any storm surge issues? If you did, it's going to be a little bit worse on this one.
Let's go, man. Okay. It's not too common that we have a question that so long it doesn't fit on the graphic, but Betsy put so much thought that I feel obligated, because this is such a, Betsy, I'm trying here. Okay. Betsy says a question about water. Do we really need to fill our bathtubs and trash cans with water? What are the chances our water supply would be contaminated? Does it get contaminated by floodwaters because the water treatment plant loses power? I'm gonna continue reading this because I actually have the full comment in front of me. Does it get contaminated by floodwaters because the water treatment plant loses power? Does the water septic tank not have power backup? I'm just curious about what conditions would warrant us needing to flush our toilets, etc. There's a lot of water-related questions, and Betsy is seeking guidance.
Well, I mean, I know that, like, when we were going to lose power for an extended period of time, say in New Hampshire, then we would have buckets of water so that if the power went out, because we had a well, I mean, obviously here but if the power went out, we lost our water, right? So you could flush the toilet once and then the water doesn't come back, right? So, you have a bucket of water or whatever, and you pour it back in the toilet, and then you can flush it again. I mean, as far as bathtubs, you don't really have means to warm that water to take a bath, if that's what you're thinking. As far as drinking water, not in this case. I don't see that happening in this case. There would have to be severe flooding, a lot of freshwater rain, and a lot of flooding that caused runoff of chemicals to get into your water and cause you to have to maybe boil it. But I'm sure, JB, that the cities would have a boil water notice.
Yeah.
It wouldn't just be like,
that's what I was going to say.
Uh-oh, this happened. No, somebody's going to tell you that, hey, the water's not safe, blah, blah, blah. But as far as, like, I remember when I was younger in snowstorms, we would fill up big buckets of water before the power went out so that we could, flush the toilet, or it wasn't warm water, but if you wanted to take a bath.
I'll say this about water. So we've been streaming a lot of county press conferences. Local emergency officials been calling press conferences. Pasco County's had their press conference. Hillsborough County's had their press conference. And look, it's not gonna compare to watching Netflix on your big screen TV. Okay, it's very information heavy. These press conferences can be dense, but if you really are concerned about your water, Betsy, like, listening to those press conferences will really help you, because if there's a guidance and advisory about water, they're gonna fill you in, pun not intended, during those press conferences. And we stream all of them on WFLA.com, and they don't get as many people watching as, let's say, Tracking the Tropics, but they are really important because they get, usually crammed, chock full with a lot of really great information in there for residents in that particular county. So WFLA.com is going to be a really great resource for you, and I would encourage you to check that out, and also check out your local county website for information. You know what? We'll end on Tallahassee. We're coming back, Winter Love. Let's Cheyenne. We're going to come here. My mom's in Washington County, 40 miles of Panama City by Chipley, and has horses there. What should she expect? Should she evacuate?
40 miles. I'm assuming east.
Let me look up Chipley. I think
Washington County is right near Jefferson County, to the north.
Washington County. I'm bringing it up here. It is. It's on I-10 basically. And I know that doesn't help.
North.
It's north of Mexico Beach, north of Panama City Beach, really at the interchange between like near the interstate and 77. Again, it's directly north of Panama City Beach, closer to the Alabama state line.
Yeah, I see what you're talking. Okay, so again, what I'll do is I'll bring up the wind radii, is what we call it, which is the wind, as you can see, a big circle of tropical storm force and hurricane force wind. So here we go. I'll put this in motion, and hopefully Panama City is on this. May not be on it. Okay, so Panama City, it looks like, obviously it's on the west side of the storm. It looks like you are also on the west side of the storm, meaning I would think that you're not going to see any wind higher than 50 miles per hour, and you could see wind gust around 60. Not going to see hurricane force wind, so hopefully that helps. Now, she was saying something about her horses. I would take them indoors if that's possible in a stable. But I don't know if she was wondering what she wanted to do, what the question was, if she wanted to, was wondering what she was going to do with the horses. Is that what it was, JB?
Yeah, let's go back to it. It was has horses. What should she expect, and should they evacuate there?
I don't know if you're able to take the horses somewhere else. If you go just a little bit to the west, things are going to improve dramatically. But right now, you're on the west side of the storm, so it's not going to be as bad as if you were on the east side. But still, 60-mile-an-hour wind at most is what you'd expect. Most likely 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts.
Can we put the track back up?
Yep.
All right, last question. It's about Tallahassee. We're going to talk about Tallahassee, and then we got a lot of great reported stuff that you guys are going to love. There's some weather stuff in there. There's some fun stuff in there from our audience, sending in a bunch of great pictures and videos too on WFLA.com/reported. So winter love. We showed this earlier. We're going to show it again. Big capital letters. What about Tallahassee? Look, Tallahassee is in a very vulnerable spot with this storm, and everyone in Tallahassee should be really heeding the warnings of local emergency management officials. Look, Tallahassee's not going to have a good Thursday.
No, definitely. Well, it's going to be more later in the day. Conditions will really start to deteriorate, I would say, mid-afternoon. So if, tomorrow morning comes around and you want to move west, if you want to drive I-10 west, hopefully not everybody's doing that all at the same time, then you'd have time to do so. But once you get past 4 or 5 o'clock and you really start to see the winds pick up, it's going to start getting bad pretty quickly. And I think this storm will be pretty close to downtown Tallahassee by about 9 o'clock at night, 8, 9 o'clock at night. If I'm calling for landfall at 8 o'clock, then shortly after that, between 8 and 9, and again, 125 plus mile an hour wind gusts, that's not going to be pretty at all, let alone how much rain you get, which isn't going to be much. 125 mile an hour wind gusts. Think about that. That's not going to be, and sustained wind well over 100. So there's going to be a lot of devastation. There's a lot of old buildings there. I'm sure there's a lot of trees that are very weak, dead, weak, rotted. You don't know. It may look it on the outside, but it may be rotted on the inside. And all you need is a 60, 70 mile an hour wind gust, and bam, there it goes. And we're talking 125 plus. So I'm telling you, Tallahassee, FSU, if you've got friends, especially west by 50, 75, 100 miles, I would strongly advise going there.
I want to also caution folks in Southwest Georgia. I just look, gonna get walloped. It's not a weather term. It's a normal person-ish term. Yeah, Southwest Georgia is gonna get hit hard too. So, and that's not an area that normally would be, sitting underneath a Category 4, 3, 2 hurricane. So, because it's more inland, but really, the folks in Tallahassee, around Tallahassee, into Southwest Georgia, should really be paying close attention, of course, to what this storm is going to be doing in the hours and day or so plus ahead. All right, let's get to report it. We've had a lot of good stuff come in. That's going to do it for our Q&A. Report It is our primary tool at WFLA to basically allow you, our weather watchers, our fellow weather geeks out there. If you're watching this program, chances are you really, you want to understand more about weather, whether it's tropical weather or just Florida weather. And so we love to spotlight stuff that comes in on Report It. And it was intended to be a tool to look at storm photos and videos and storm damage, down trees, down power lines, floating cars we've seen on Report It, like cars literally floating down roadways because of tremendous storm surge. We see that. And then also we've kind of said, hey, let's use this to see you, our audience, and allow you to actually be able to say hello on the program, because this is an interactive show. And there's no such thing as an interactive show without the audience members that tune in and ask us questions. So being able to spotlight some friendly faces, some smiles out there, it warms our hearts and allows us to see who's watching, where they're watching from, and allows folks to just quite literally say hello. So we spotlighted this one earlier. This is Sharon in Largo. Let's continue on with some of the Report It submissions. And again, the rule here was selfies with Tracking the Tropics on in the background. We had some people sending us pictures, Eric, at I saw one from their local bar. There was no Tracking the Tropics.
That's great.
It was just football on TV. And while we appreciate the enthusiasm, it's just not in the spirit of what we're trying to do. We're trying to show people that are watching the program, and that selfie, I don't know where that came from, so we're going to try
There's no football on now, is
right,
there?
Right, exactly. So that might have been days ago.
Yeah.
The purpose of this is to spotlight people watching us right now and to show you guys watching actively. So we'll continue on.
Nice.
Look at the whole family.
Nice.
Check this out.
Look at that TV.
This is a great one. Connor in St. Pete taking a selfie with the family. They got even the comment section scrolling there on the right side of the big screen TV. Connor and 1, 2, 3, 4 folks in the living room. Man, I'd love to be, like in my PJs. People have only ever really seen me, in a shirt and tie and a sports coat, but I would love to be on the couch right now, hanging out with family, having some laughs, making fun of the guys on the news.
Probably got a good dinner going too right now.
Yeah, it's about that time.
We're getting hungry.
So Connor and family and friends in St. Pete, thanks for watching and participating in the program. Got some great thumbs up there, some smiling faces. We absolutely love to see it. Next up from James in Spring Hill. There was a comment associated with that last one, by the way. It said, watch party with my husband and pregnant wife. Wait a second. Pregnant wife and some friends. So as a new dad, shout out to the expecting, I can't see exactly who it is, but if you're expecting, congratulations. Big round of applause for you guys, Connor. I'm just reading the comment that you sent in alongside the photo on Report It. Okay, next up, James in Spring Hill says that this is Hurricane Hunter Miles, and he is on the case. Let me tell you something. I'm going to put down the banner here. Miles looks like he's ready to hunt the hurricane. Doesn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, he looks like
he also has that look like, are you going to feed me?
Right. Are you going to feed me for taking this, this photo? I don't understand what I'm doing, but no, he looks like he's ready to scarf down some treats, or chase down a hurricane. He looks like a hurricane hunter. James, Spring Hill. Let's give Spring Hill a quick micro forecast if we can.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about Spring Hill throughout the day. 60 to 70 mile an hour wind gusts and 2-3 inches of rain, maybe 4 at the very most. But again, it's going to be more wind than anything else.
Let's go to a video that comes in from Ryan in Spring Hill, sending this in. So it's about, I think, a 7-second clip here.
Was that today?
But this is. Let me tell you something, folks. It is from today. This is exactly why Report It is so powerful. I mean, basically, you guys are our weather observers, and you can take videos and pictures, but we have to caution you to be safe. Like, do not put yourself in harm's way tomorrow just for a video or a picture. We only want you to send in pictures and videos from a safe location and to do so responsibly. So With that said, obviously, Helene hasn't arrived yet, so this could just very well be.
That's probably Eric? The rain band that came through Tampa at 4 o'clock. It probably moved through Spring Hill 4:45-ish. If I had to guess, yeah. But yeah, I mean, we're going to see a lot of sky looking like that. And I'm telling you, tomorrow when this storm gets closer, I can imagine, JB, how fast if you just put your camera up to the sky with clouds like that and don't move the camera at all. Those clouds are going to be racing like crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be, the reported pictures and videos that we get in tomorrow, look, they're likely going to be jaw droppers. So again, WFLA.com/report it. Just do so, please, safe and responsibly. There is no piece of content that is worth compromising your safety. Next up on Report It. This is
he's tired.
Cheney in St. Petersburg. Tired of listening to Eric and JB run their mouths for hours on end. It says, Cheney in St. Pete says, this is Brady watching the live stream from the safety of his bed and blankets. And so my family, shout out to my in-laws, Logan and Mackenzie. They have a dog, and they name their dog Brady. So I'm going to take a wild guess here and say that maybe, just maybe, Brady here was named for not a dog, but a goat.
Tom Brady, yes.
Tom Brady.
I was just going to say that.
Who delivered a Super Bowl here to Tampa Bay. That's my wild guess, but yeah.
And 6 to my lovely New England Patriots.
All right.
Next, that's where I'm from.
Next up on Report It, let's take down the banner. This is Lynn in Tallahassee watching the program on his laptop. Hey, Lynn, be safe, man. Tallahassee, like I said, going to have a really nasty Thursday. And so please be safe. And we love to see people that are watching the program, learning about the impacts that they can expect in their particular neighborhood. But Tallahassee's in for a rough Thursday.
Yeah, and he even picked the graphic where I showed the wind up in Perry at 120-something mile an hour wind gust, which isn't too far away from Tallahassee.
Let's go next. Lynn, thanks a lot for sending in. Love to see the smiling faces. Another one here. This is Angelica from Santa Rosa Beach, Florida, throwing up a peace sign. Me watching live Helene updates. Angelica, it's great to see a friendly face. Santa Rosa Beach, Florida, Eric. I mean, that's up on the Panhandle, no?
Is it? Yeah, I'm not really sure exactly where Santa Rosa Beach is. I know it's nowhere around here. Is it east of Panama City?
It is. Oh, it's up by. Yeah, it's up by Destin. I've been to Santa Rosa Beach.
Okay, so it's west then. So yeah, it's west of Panama City. So
it is west of Panama City Beach. So Angelica,
thankfully she's not going to be feeling anywhere near the full effects of this one being on the cleaner side of the storm. How about that?
Yeah, no, Angelica here lives in a beautiful area. I know this area well from my time. I lived in Mobile for many years, and it's a great spot. Angelica, stay safe to you, your family, your friends, your pets. Stay safe, and really thank you for watching and sending it in to report it. We really appreciate it. Next up, so we got Nate here. Nate is in Newport Richey, and he's got a double screen set up. And on the left, he's got our coverage on YouTube, and then he says the comment is watching Eric and JB while playing some GTA, Grand Theft Auto. Hey man. That's sounds like a fun afternoon or a fun evening. Newport Richey, again, likely going to get significant storm surge. It depends on where you are in Newport Richey, but be safe, Nate.
Say hi to Jim Cantori. He's up there.
Yeah, he's over there somewhere.
He's at a hotel on the coast. There it is.
Yeah, man.
Don't let this one cross your path.
Mr. Marshall in Tampa. Marshall, look, people, if they've watched me before, I love dogs, but I have a soft place in my heart for cats, having 2 cats myself. I'm a cat person. I love dogs. I'm one of those cat people that are cat obsessed and dogs aren't worth my time. No, I love dogs. I love Rebecca's dog, Cooper. We were talking about that yesterday, but cats, ever since I was a kid,
Pickles.
I just love cats, and they have a soft soft place in my heart for cats, Eric.
Yeah, not me. Dogs.
Dogs.
Yeah, too many close friends of mine have cats, so they're trying to convert me a bit. So
again,
I can handle them.
These are photos and videos coming in to WFLA.com/report it. People are even sending. It's not too late. You can send them in right now if you want to get onto the program before we wrap up here in the next just couple of minutes. This is like a last call for any reported pictures. But again, we want to see, Tracking the Tropics at least somewhere represented, so we know that you're taking this photo now. But I couldn't help myself with the cat photo. It's just, look, it's a weak spot. Gwen says this is Zephyr Hills about 4:30 today, Eric.
Yep, well, that's what I said. That rain band came through Tampa, and you see how fast the cloud's moving. Look at that. I mean, that system is just cooking. It's just one of those rain bands, one of the first rain bands I think that we saw from Helene. So there's going to be more to come. I'm sure there was a lot of wind and rain with this one too.
Let's next go to, thank you for sending this in, Gwen. We really appreciate it. We have another video coming in from Leela in Zephyr Hills. Even gave us the zip code, 33541. Man,
ooh, look at that.
That is interesting.
Yep.
Looks like over
you get
homes there. So,
you get a lot of cloud formations when you have a tropical system like this. There's a lot of rotation and rolling in the sky and waves, and it causes the clouds to look just like that.
Next up on WFLA.com/reported. Hey.
Uh-oh.
So this is a video coming in from Kristen in Largo. It says a picture of us watching Tracking the Tropics at home in Largo, and my kids are super excited. I love to see it.
That's great.
And thank you for watching the program, you guys. They look like they just saw a ghost.
They look very much alike too.
They
look at that.
Yeah, they look like the lightning strike almost caught them. It looks like the lightning strike. It's striking him right in the head.
Oh no! Don't say that.
Oh no! That's the only time I ever want to see.
Thanks for watching.
We want to ever see a lightning strike. Actually hitting somebody on the top of the head like that. Thank you for sending this one in, Kristen. Largo. What can they expect in Largo there?
Yeah, the same thing. Close to the coast. Probably not have to worry about storm surge. Not on the immediate coast, but definitely 70 to 80 mile an hour wind gusts. Wouldn't be surprised if there was some wind gust in coastal Pinellas County that were hurricane force around 75 or so.
Let's next up. Thank you, Kristen, really for sending this in. I love Alyssa in Trinity says just the hot dog watching JB.
I love
and
wiener
Eric.
babies. Anybody that knows me, I used to watch a photographer friend of mine in Fort Myers. Now she's in Orlando. I used to watch her wiener dogs all the time, and they passed away. She got other wiener dogs. I would watch them, and I love wiener dogs. They're so cute.
Yep. Alyssa, this is a great one, and we see Tracking the Tropics on there in the background. Really appreciate you watching, and thanks for sending in. Just the hot dog watching JB and Eric was the comment. We got some kids watching too. I love seeing this. Okay, so this is Akira, and she is of course watching with her parent Jessica, and says watching Tracking the Tropics today. And they had a featured comment earlier on the program. They asked, how will storm surge be in Holiday about 3 miles inland? They sent in this comment, and they're watching along. Akira, it is great to see you. There's a pup in this shot as well. We'll bring down the banner.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, this is it doesn't get much better than
he's saying,
than
"Get
this.
out of the way! I can't see." Right. See, this would have been me when I was a kid watching the Weather Channel. Because in the '80s, when the Weather Channel came out, that's all I did. I just always watched the Weather Channel all the time.
Man, Akira, thank you for watching, and please be as safe as possible. I'm trying to see if there was a location there. We would give you a little forecast for where you're watching from, but I don't see the location in the comment, at least in my system. Thank you so much for watching and sending in the photo. This one was just funny to me. I loaded this one in. There's no Tracking the Tropics anywhere in this, but it's just funny. Okay, so sometimes funny counts for something. Marianne in Clearwater says that this is her pet dog.
He said, you know what? My owners wouldn't get out of there when they told us to evacuate, so I'm going to be trying to drive this on my own.
Yep. So the pup here is evacuating.
And he's stuck in traffic. Look, he's like, oh.
Speaking of being on the road, look at this one.
Oh, boy.
This is Jody. And says that Jody says this is an evacuation in progress. You can see on the tablet, they're watching Tracking the Tropics with you and myself. And got the pup right there in the lap, and they are heading out. And to Jody and the fam on the road, please be safe. We hope that you get to your destination safe. We hope that your that your dog's bladder holds true, so you don't have any accidents in the vehicle. We love.
Well,
seeing
he's on
this.
a towel for a reason. Yep. I think he wants that window rolled down. You know how dogs love sticking their head out the window.
So shout out to Rusty. This is Rusty, I've been told. And this is Rusty looking for the storm out the window. We hope that Rusty and family make it to their destination safe and sound. A few more here on Report It before we oh, man, this is great. This is my 2-year-old son watching Bluey. My 2-year-old son and I watching Bluey and learning about hurricanes. Got some more dual screen action here. This is Scott in Tampa with his 2-year-old. We'd love to see it. Scott, thank you for sending it in. What a cute kid.
Yeah, that is adorable.
We really love it. And so I can see on the keyboard there, it says, a day without golf is probably your wife's birthday. That's pretty funny. So Bluey on the left, Tracking the Tropics on the right. Man, we love to see it, Scott. Thank you for sending this one in. It is great to see. That one came in from Tampa. This one failed to load. We'll try to get this one loaded up. It was a picture of a hurricane, I think. It was from Justice. Justice, we're going to try to load that one again. And we've got a few more loaded up here. Eric, while I load these up, any updates that you want to share? Because we're about to wrap up our live stream.
Yeah. I mean, the 8 o'clock update will probably feature somewhat of a strengthening of this storm. And, the updates from now through tomorrow afternoon, eventually coming a Category 2 storm, probably overnight tonight. And then tomorrow, a major hurricane. And we'll see if this thing does strengthen in less than 24 hours from a moderate 1 to a weak 4, which I don't want to say weak 4 because a Category 4 is pretty strong. But yeah, we'll see, and we'll see if the models change at all. I'm not sure if the models. Sometimes this is a time when the models do update, and so I'll behind the scenes kind of look. But I don't think we're gonna really have any updates until about 8 o'clock this evening. So for now, it's steady as she goes, right? As they say.
Yep. I'm going to try to, this is the last segment here on the stream, looking at just some final photos that have come in on WFLA.com/reportit. Let's see if we can spotlight just a couple more. We'll try to load up that one again. It was actually funny from Justice. Here it is. Here's the photo from Justice. Justice is he's in Tallahassee right now, and he's like, "Come on, man, really?" He's
like, "I just moved here, and now I have to worry about this."
Yeah, if you're in Tallahassee right now, this is your face. This is what you're looking.
Yeah. And right after that, you get in your car and you start driving west.
He's also giving you this look. You see, you're in the shot, so he's giving you this look like, really, Eric?
I'm sorry, man. I didn't create this.
Man, Justice, thank you for sending it in. Be safe in Tallahassee. And as funny as this picture is, there's nothing funny about what's heading your way. Please be safe. We've got 4 more in the queue. This is Denise in Parrish, Florida. Says, watching Tracking the Tropics with my Bailey bear.
Oh, cute.
Love to see it, Denise. Thanks for, man. Look, yeah, man. We've got some serious cozy action going on.
Yeah,
here.
Look at the
blankets, fireplace, Tracking the Tropics on TV, and Bailey bear just hanging out on the couch. This is where I want to be right now. This sounds pretty good. Thank you for sending this one in, Denise. 3 more to go. Jackie in Live Oak says, this is Roxy watching. Hello, Roxy. Look at Roxy knew where the camera was.
Yeah, that's
Roxy.
That's a
Roxy
cool
knows.
room right there too. I don't know what those two statues or what they are. One looks like a mushroom lamp. I don't know. It's hard to.
This is Live Oak, Florida, and Roxy needs to turn towards the TV because there's a cat on TV, you know, and that might really get Roxy's attention. You know what I mean?
That's why Roxy's looking away. Says, "No, this is my enemy."
Let's see here. Whoa, how many pups do we have in this shot?
One, two, three, four.
Oh man, are they
5.
Puppies? This is John in Newport Richie.
Look at the steps. Isn't that so cute? I love that.
The steps onto the bed.
One's going up the steps. There's 3 gray ones on the bed. You can see the butt of the tan one on the left side. And I can't tell if there's another one underneath where all those hats are hanging up. There's at least 5 dogs there.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I count at least 5. It's kind of hard because some of those dogs blend in with the blanket there. Got Tracking the Tropics on, and that same cat photo, making it on, and then one last one. We'll spotlight more tomorrow, and maybe even tonight. Selly and Lakeland with a selfie with her dog as well. We love to see it, man. This is it's great to see folks watching along, staying weather aware, staying informed with Helene. And we hope that everybody out there stays safe. Any parting words? So, Eric, I think this is a wrap for you today. I think our next stream is with Jeff. Any final words before we wrap this up and call it a stream?
You know what? Tomorrow's going to be a big day, and we'll be on bright and early all day long, informing you, keeping you safe, hopefully saving lives, and trying to get you through this storm because we'll be going through it too.
Yeah, it's going to be... Look, tomorrow's like landfall day, and it might be more like landfall night because it's happening way later on, probably past 8 o'clock. But look, it's going to be a day where the Tampa Bay area is going to feel the brunt of this storm. It's going to be a day where we go from Cat 1 all the way up to Cat 4. There's a lot of activity expected tomorrow. Tracking the Tropics streams on WFLA.com, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and with streams really built around the advisories themselves. So 11 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and sometimes 2 o'clock. It depends, AM, PM. But you can keep it right here on WFLA.com, on YouTube, on Facebook, as we keep you up to date on the storm. This was a particularly interesting stream because of the track nudging slightly to the west, and now with the updated intensity forecast, with now Helene expected to reach Category 4 strength. I'd like to give a big shout out to Eric Stone for a lot of live streaming today. Jeff Baradelli, chief meteorologist with the Max Fender 8 weather team, takes over. Will be joining me at around 8:30. That's what I was told. Around 8:30, our streaming coverage continues. We'll be looking closer at the latest models coming in. We'll be taking more questions. Maybe we spotlight some of the most recent reported pictures and videos that have been coming in. We didn't get to all of them on this live stream. We'll try to get to some more in the next live stream. So 8:30 tonight will be our final live stream of today, that being Wednesday the 25th, and then our streaming coverage after 8:30's stream will, of course, resume tomorrow across all platforms. For Eric Stone, I'm JB Buno. We'll see you at 8:30. Thank you, everybody, for sending in stuff to WFLA.com/report it. We'll see you in about 90 minutes.